Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a weekly TV show called Team Chicago Challenge. My website is teamchicago.tv, teamchicago.tv. I'm in Oshkosh, Wisconsin for the EAA AirVenture, and I had the opportunity to talk to some great pilots, look at some great aircraft, and in the next 10, 12, 14 minutes, I'm going to try to show you as much as I can of what took place right here in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And remember my website, teamchicago.tv. As we enter Whitman Field, the site of the EAA AirVenture, we have to understand just what the EAA is. This group is based on the belief that aviation belongs to the general public. As we see these buildings that are for seminars where people can learn how to build airplanes, how to work with fabric, how to work with kits, and we see the various kits of aircraft at the AirVenture, you have to remember that the general public has the right to own aircraft, to fly aircraft, and to build their own aircraft. The EAA began in 1953 under the leadership of Paul Pobrezny. Paul was a World War II instructor. He then flew in the Korean conflict, and then he joined the Wisconsin Air National Guard. The EAA held their first meeting in 1953 with the first fly-in at the Milwaukee airport. In the 1960s, the fly-in was moved to the Rockford Airport. It soon became apparent that they needed a larger venue for the EAA. One rumor was that these aviation ruffians were ran out of Rockford, and the people of Oshkosh should be aware. Well, they moved to Oshkosh, they built their world headquarters, and then they built their fabulous museum. But as you will see, this event is the largest air event in the world. And the general public, men and women of the United States of America, have the right to fly airplanes and to own airplanes. Paul Pobrezny said he was a millionaire because he had 1 million friends that he met over the years as we look at his warbird, this beautiful P-64. And now we're going to look at some P-38s, some of the warbirds that are at Oshkosh, some of the great warbirds, and we're going to look around at some of these great airplanes. We see this beautiful Sover called Marge, this beautiful P-38. And right next door is Glacier Girl, a P-38 that landed on the ice in Greenland. 50 years later, a crew went up to Greenland to get it out of the ice. It was sitting at 260 feet. After they got it out of the ice, they brought it back to the good old USA, and they restored it and got it flying. This is a great story, and I was lucky to talk to the crew chief that brought back Glacier Girl, Bob Carden.
Bob Carden, and I'm the project manager for the recovery, the restoration, and the carrying of P-38 Glacier Girl that you see behind me. And briefly, Glacier Girl was part of a flight of 6 P-38s and 2 B-17s that were being flown to England to fight in the war. They got lost flying over Greenland, flying to England. They ran out of fuel and landed on the glacier. After 11 days, the crewmen were rescued, but the airplanes were abandoned on the glacier. I headed up a team 50 years later that went to Greenland, melted 268 feet inside the glacier, melted a room around the airplane, took it apart. We brought it up piece by piece and to the surface and moved it to Middlesboro, Kentucky, where we spent 10 years restoring the airplane back to flyable condition. The plane first flew in October of 2002, and since then through today, which has been 12 years, we've flown over 500 hours on the airplane, and she's flying superbly.
Thank you, Bob Carden. As we look at a replica of a British bi-wing from World War I, this is a replica, and we had a chance to talk to the man behind building this great-looking aircraft.
So my name is Robert Bosley. I'm with Aerodrome Aeroplanes. This is a brand new aircraft that we just built. It's a replica of a 1916 British SE-5A. It was built for an upcoming movie called Out of the Burning Blue. It was built over a 5-week time period with 2 gentlemen working on it. It was taken out to Hollywood. We spent 27 days filming the movie, and then look forward in theaters by the end of the fall.
So how accurate is this to the original?
Scale-wise, it's 100% scale. Material-wise, we've deviated. The original aircraft was wood, fabric, and canvas. We've used modern materials to construct it, modern covering supplies to cover it.
So what's this? Have you flown this? Do you fly this? Or?
Yes, this airplane is flown. It has 20-some hours, I guess, in production already on doing filming and stuff, so it's done a lot of work already.
So how does it fly?
It's a very slow airplane. It handles really well, takes off pretty quick, climbs very steep, but it doesn't go very fast.
Thank you, Robert. As we see one of the stunt planes, this is part of the EAA AirVenture. Air shows are an important part of the AirVenture. Every day there's a different show, different airplanes, formations, and stunt planes like this. And I had a chance to talk to 2 gentlemen with 2 trainers, one from San Diego and one from Indianapolis. Let's listen to David Beaver and Dennis Shell.
I'm David Bieber from San Diego, California, Paladin Aircraft Restoration. And I restored this aircraft. I should say we restored it because it takes a lot of people to do it. This aircraft was built in 1943. We got it in 1982 for $4,000, and it wasn't a flying aircraft. It basically just a bunch of parts with a data tag. So we started working on it. The owner, Dave Vandenberg, from VA 97, the Warhawks, off the USS Constellation, did 2 tours in Vietnam off the USS Connie, which is being scrapped this year, by the way. So when we painted the aircraft, it's authentic for flights training in Pensacola for, in the 50s. But we put the Warhawk logo on it from VA 97, Attack Squadron VA 97. And it also says the USS Constellation on it, Air Carrier Group 14, to honor the men who, flew in Vietnam. So anyway, we started out with a pile of parts, and we started rebuilding the wings and modifying the aircraft. But every rivet has been replaced in this aircraft. And we didn't really get started on putting it together until 2005. And as you can see, everything is brand new in the aircraft. We went through every system in the aircraft, and then we also added modifications for safety. But it's just an honor to be here. Pete and I came here as A&P students in 1979, and we're returning now as IAs, bringing an aircraft that we restored for Dave Vandenberg. And it's like being invited to Pebble Beach. So we're just thrilled to be here. As far as we're concerned, we don't need to even win anything because it's so much damn fun. Flying here and being around other aviation enthusiasts and all these wonderful warbirds is just a great thing.
Dennis Shell, Indianapolis, Indiana. This wing belongs to the Commemorative Air Force. We operate it out of the Indiana wing of the Commemorative Air Force, and it's a Fairchild PT-26. 1944 primary trainer.
So how many planes do you guys have, the Commemorative Air Force total? I mean, it
over
seems
160
like... Oh, really?
Nationwide. Really? Yeah, so they're spread out over 70 different units that we have around the country, and assigned out to the units. The units restore them, maintain them, operate them in support of the mission.
So you get to fly this?
Indeed.
So what's it like to fly a warbird?
It's a pleasure and a privilege. This is a very forgiving tail dragger, and the guys that went to primary flight school and had Fairchilds to fly were lucky. I think the folks that showed up with Stearmans or Ryans probably had a better chance of washing out. Maybe it made their skills better too. I'm not sure, but yeah, the PT-26, it's a slow airplane, but it's very responsive. There's push rods in the flight controls between the stick and the control surfaces. So you move the stick and you feel, just the slightest bit and you feel the airplane move. So it's very responsive. Very wide landing gear carriage and a lot of movement in the landing gear allow for a lot of grace on landings. The airplane gives a lot of grace, so it doesn't have to be perfect to get it on the ground, keep it on the ground, and track it down the runway, where a lot of tail draggers or stiffer gear, real easy to bounce one and get in a difficult situation.
Thank you, gentlemen. Two important aircraft that led to victory during World War II, as we look at 3 50 caliber machine guns and 9 yards of bullets in this P-51. That's where the term comes from, give them the whole 9 yards. And we had the chance to talk to the owner, Mark Peterson.
Mark Peterson out of Boise, Idaho, flying a P-51 Mustang Heller bust. This airplane served in World War II in England and then was sold to the Swedes, operated by the Swedish Air Force and then the Dominican Republic. Airplane came back into the United States in the late 80s and then was restored in the early 90s. Repainted in these colors in 2000 and 2001 to celebrate the career of a fellow by the name of Ed Heller. Ed flew in World War II and as well in Korea. He flew, in World War II, he flew the P-47 and the P-51. In Korea, he flew the F-86.
So you get to fly this?
Absolutely, every chance I get.
So what's it like to fly a P-51? How cool is it?
It's real cool. It's real cool, primarily because of the historical significance of the aircraft. Yeah, I mean, it just had such a huge role in the Allies' victory in Europe and to some degree in the Pacific as well, particularly attacking Japan. So it's got just a tremendous historical significance. There's many times when I finish flying the airplane and my crew chief will hop up on the wing and I tell him, if everything's okay, I'm just going to sit here for 15 or 20 minutes because I just can't believe that I'm fortunate enough to be able to fly an airplane with this much significance. From a flying point of view, from a pilot point of view, it's a neat airplane. I mean, it's certainly nothing, compared to today's modern aircraft, but it flies well, it handles well.
Thank you, Mark. What a great airplane, what a great story. And now we're looking at the car that flies. Here's a story I've been following for the last 4 years. Tara Fujiya, driven to fly. And this video here was shot last year when they flew at the 2013 EAA AirVenture. And I had the opportunity to talk to the CEO of this great company, Carl Dietrich.
Yeah, so my name is Carl Dietrich. I'm the CEO, Chief Technical Officer, and co-founder of Tara Fujiya, the flying car company. Tara Fujiya was founded in 2006, but we actually started thinking about the creation of a combined flying driving vehicle in 2004 when the FAA created the Sport Pilot Light Sport Aircraft rule. And when that rule came out, it struck me as a great opportunity to do something entrepreneurial in aviation. So we took a step back and we said, what are the biggest problems in general aviation today? And it turns out a former professor of mine at MIT had conducted a survey of the pilot population, statistically identifying the largest obstacles to the more widespread use of general aviation. Those obstacles are weather sensitivity, high recurring cost of ownership, long door-to-door travel time, and a lack of ground mobility at the 5,000 public use general aviation airports around the United States. So we looked at these problems and said, well, a flying car, a combined flying driving vehicle would really ideally address these problems from a weather sensitivity standpoint. If the weather gets bad, no big deal. Fold up your wings and drive safely under the weather. If you're wondering whether I should keep going on this trip because the conditions are looking marginal, it's okay. Land at the nearest airport, fold up the wings, and drive under the weather front. It gives you a lot more flexibility, and pilots are bound to make safer choices if they have that other option. So that's a big thing if you're a pilot thinking about the decision of whether to push forward or not. Also, you're never going to get stuck. You can always get home, so take that weekend trip. Don't worry about what the weather's going to be like on Sunday. If you've got to drive back, it may take you a little longer. You'll get in a little later Sunday night, but you'll be in at work on Monday. You don't have to worry about picking up your plane on another trip. So there's a whole bunch of really useful things that having that sort of flexibility allows you to compensate and use your aircraft more when otherwise you'd be stopped by weather. So that's a big thing. From a cost perspective, we're talking about a vehicle that you can keep at home in your garage. Fits inside a standard construction single car garage, so you don't have to rent a hangar at the airport. The transition uses the Rotax 912IS, which is a 100 horsepower engine. It burns about 5 gallons an hour at cruise, and gets great gas mileage on the road as well. So your operating cost for just the fuel is about 20 bucks an hour. And then when you tack on an engine reserve and maintenance reserve, maybe you're in $40, $45 an hour in terms of your operating expense for the vehicle. Pretty economical. And it's a two-seater, so you take your spouse, take your significant other on that weekend getaway trip. It'll hold a set of golf clubs in the back as well.
Okay. Website where someone can find out more information.
Yeah, so go to driventofly.com or terrafugia.com, TERRAFUGIA.com.
Okay, have you met your target as far as price, and are you getting orders in?
Yeah, we've actually got up to 100 orders now, and we're expecting a $279,000 base price, and then if you want autopilot and other options like that, that'll bump it up a little bit more.
Thank you, Carl. What a great airplane. What a great concept. Congratulations on bringing this to the marketplace. A car that flies. And now we're going to have the Corsair, United States Navy, United States Marine, Corsair, one of the great aircraft that won World War II, along with the P-51, the P-40, the P-38, the B-25, the B-24, the B-17. And now we're going to listen to a song, a rendition of a song done by another group of ruffians from Rockford that did not get run out of Rockford, Cheap Trick. And now let's listen to Sandra Lynn, a genuine aviation enthusiast. Sandra Lynn, music EAA.com. Join us, the EAA, July 20th through 26th, 2015, EAA.org.